All human beings are born to free and equal in dignity and rights. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. One must resolve to lay down one's life in enriching the noble ideals of self-respect and in bettering one's human life. Eastern people are not as slaves. Nothing is more disgraceful for a brave man than to live life devoid of self-respect. The Daman of frontier Nagaland is primarily based on the notion of considering state as a resource through which backward people will achieve their development needs in social, political, and economic areas, and by which they will receive new opportunities of growth, which they lacked since more than 60 years. The concerns of the people from eastern Nagaland has become a grave challenge to the democracy of India, and her vision is to become an economic superpower. People of the eastern Nagaland have been deprived and doubly discriminated. The question of forgotten people of eastern Nagaland is of constitutional rights, claiming their lost rights. When did road being constructed to so-called International Trade Center done at Noklak? Why people living in Tanamir, Konjiri, Choklunkan, Way, Shapur, Sunglau, Wansoy, and so many other villages never ever get a human road condition, standard medical facilities, infrastructural development, and compassionate government support, which they truly deserve to uplift themselves. Where are quality doctors, medical staff, and super speciality hospitals in the eastern region? Why should eastern villages be forced to go to sleep without electricity? Why should there be only one government college in each eastern district? Out of 70 to 80 colleges, there are only 7 colleges in eastern Nagaland. Will there ever be a chief minister from eastern region? It is next to impossible, and it will never happen, because since the formation of Nagaland state, all the successive chief ministers of Nagaland have been from advanced tribe constituencies, like Northern Angami II, Peran, Ayalendon, Atoizu, Mokochung Town, Kohima Town, Akuluto, Western Angami, Impur, and this trend is likely to continue. There could be many more uncomfortable questions, to which no one will not have any concrete answer. This is a reason that Eastern Naga tribes demand a new state, under the name Frontier Nagaland, in order to fill this difference. They consider state as the instrument of change, which will provide them with sovereignty in their geographical area, and will also allow them to have their political entity, which they lack under the power and dominance of Western Nagas. The 3 significant elements associated with statehood are population, territory, and government. The element of population in statehood theory is associated with the development, growth, freedom, and equality that every citizen of the state should receive. A state provides the population with their identity that helps them to grow and get equal opportunities. A demand for a state is to implement their own power and to not remain subjected to external power. A demand for state is the demand of equal material welfare for every individual. Secondly, the element of territory, which means to have the right over their geographical boundaries and properties. Eastern Naga tribes identify that their lands and resources are being exploited, and they are left with limited opportunities of development through their resources, on which they have lived for centuries. The third important element that is associated with the demand of a new independent state is government. Government here refers to the government bodies, institutions, officials, and policies. Most of the government officials posted in the eastern region are either Western Nagas or the non-Nagas, who consider their posting in the region to be a punishment. These officials consider the place to be very backward and primitive, and are often found to be absent from their offices. Eastern Naga people demand a new state because they found that the officers posted in their region often neglect their duties. ENBO, in their formal launch of the statehood demand, had stated that, among all the districts of Nagaland, eastern districts are most backward. They also stated that they were not administered by British rule, and as a result, no schools were established, nor any kind of development took place in their region. Even after the formation of Nagaland state, they had been neglected, and continue neglecting by the state machinery. Duda was created inclusively for Eastern Nagaland, but in reality, Zunhiboto, Waka, Meluri, and Peran are ignorantly put under Duda, and they enjoy the same status with rest of the district under Duda. ENPO believe that, with the formation of their separate state, they would become the sole responsible of all the state resources. Therefore, they are considering state as the instrument of change, through which districts of the Eastern Nagaland region can achieve their development, which has become necessary in the globalized world. Various evidences also inform that this region will remain backward, as there is a lack of development, education, and employment, and that these people could never modernize. As people in the eastern region are hardly educated, government representatives take them for granted and do not focus on their demands and needs. Therefore, with the backwardness, there is also a perspective of discrimination against them that Eastern people had experienced. We have to understand and accept the fact that the primary demand of statehood, the various records and narratives of the evident neglect towards the region, there was also a historical backdrop that displayed a boundary between Nagaland and frontier Nagaland, which in broader sense could be compared with the colonial divisions between administered and unadministered regions. The Frontier Nagaland movement is a constitutional rights to reclaim their lost right, which has been violated for many years. Central government knows very well what the deprived and discriminated people of the eastern region by the successive governments of Nagaland. As mandated by the supreme law of the land, Government of India is duty-bound to listen to the grievances of Eastern people and initiate remedial measures as demanded by them, that is the formation of separate state, the Frontier Nagaland. Don't say, ENBO trying to divide Nagaland. Nagaland is not dividing by ENBO, but it was the Western who dominated since the state of Nagaland was formed. ENPO demand is genuine, and taking all these into account, Eastern Nagaland thought, the creation of separate state, can achieve the development in their region, which has become necessary in the modernized world. The Eastern Nagaland are fighting for the cause of broken, forgotten world, which has left to be rotten, in the slush of the systematically imposed misery and suffering for at least close to 2 centuries. Therefore, let's not put any obstacles to their demand, but support through human value, and let Government of India make the honourable and acceptable solution, for the people of Frontier Nagaland.